Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
For 42 years, he has terrorized this town. Tonight, it ends.
We need to stop this mother.
We need a plan of attack.
We have to get these people out of town.
How can he still be alive?
This is Officer Williams. Our night isn't over yet.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and it's new release Saturday, and it's time to take a look at the Netflix original movie, The Curse of Bridge Hollow, starring Marlon Wayans, Priah Ferguson, Kelly Rowland, John Michael Higgins, Rob Riggle, Lauren Lapkus, and Nia Vardalos. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And as I said in the introduction, it's new release Saturday. Today we're going to take a look at the Netflix original film, The Curse of Bridge Hollow. And as our movie opens, the Gordon family, 14-year-old Sydney, and her parents, Howard and Emily, moved to the small town of Bridge Hollow from their former hometown of Brooklyn, New York. Upon arriving in their new town, they discover that the entire town seems to be really into and decorated for Halloween. While the movers unload the truck, Howard meets his neighbor, Sully, who tells them about the town's infatuation with Halloween. Now, Sydney is not happy at all about the move, and we learn that Howard and Sydney have a bit of a strained relationship due to the fact that he has constantly pushed her to do the things that he wanted her to do instead of allowing her to do the things that she wanted to do. While cruising the town, the Gordons meet the mayor, Tammy Rice, who tells them the story of Stingy Jack and his jack-o'-lantern. As Sydney roams the town, she comes upon the Bridge Hollow Cemetery, where she meets Jamie, Ramona, and Mario, members of the Bridge Hollow Paranormal Society. The trio begin to educate Sydney about Madame Hawthorne, who was the former resident of Sydney's house. That night, Sydney attempts to contact Madame Hawthorne using a Ouija board app on her phone, and is shocked when the board proclaims that Madame Hawthorne's spirit is here. Sydney then begins to explore the house after making contact with Madame Hawthorne, and she accidentally puts a hole into a small piece of the attic wall where she discovers a treasure chest that just so happens to house a white jack-o'-lantern. The next day, Howard attends his first day of work as the Bridge Hollow High School science teacher. Howard then meets up with Principal Floyd, who shows him his new classroom, while Sydney meets up with Jamie, Ramona, and Mario. The trio then invite her to the school's Halloween party that evening, and at first she declines due to her dad's beliefs, but then she decides to get a costume and go anyway. When Howard gets home, he and Sydney have a fight, and he grounds her and throws away a bat decoration that she had bought. Howard then tries to blow out the candle in the white jack-o'-lantern, but it continually reignites. Howard then throws the jack-o'-lantern away, and the bat decoration comes to life and flies out of the trash can. Howard and Sydney try to swat the bat, and it crashes onto a neighbor's lawn, bringing a cat decoration to life. When the cat decoration jumps onto Sully's coffin, the body inside of Sully's coffin comes to life, as do his army of zombies. As the zombies attack Sully, Sydney jumps into action and knocks some of the zombies' heads off with a shovel. Sully then tells Howard and Sydney about Madame Hawthorne's granddaughter, Victoria, who now resides in an old folks' home. When they go to see Victoria, she tells them about the time that she saw her grandmother, Madame Hawthorne, attempt to contact Stingy Jack with a seance. She continues to explain how Stingy Jack made a deal with the devil and was given the jack-o'-lantern, which allows him to cross between worlds. That way he could continue to torment the people of Bridge Hollow every Halloween until midnight, And if he could find another soul to take in his place, he would be able to stay in our world and attempt to make every day Halloween. As long as the jack-o'-lantern stays unlit, there's nothing to worry about. At that point, a Grim Reaper decoration enters the old folks' home and ends up bringing some decorative spiders to life, causing Howard to combine hydrogen peroxide and bleach together to make a corrosive and kill the spiders. After vanquishing the spiders, Howard finally explains to Sydney why he is the way he is when it comes to Halloween. He tells her how one Halloween he was dared to go into an abandoned house in order to prove that he is not chicken. While roaming that house, he fell through the floorboards to the basement below, where he saw skeletons. However, a few days later at school, his science teacher taught him about hallucinations due to concussions, and Howard put together that the skeletons that he saw were temporary hallucinations as a result of his concussion. So he feels that everything has an explanation. When Sydney and Howard bump into Jamie, Ramona, and Mario, they learn about Madame Hawthorne's spell book, which was sold at an auction after she passed. They find the original buyer and question him about it, only to find that he sold it to someone else online, someone who resides at 666 Elm Street. When they arrive at 666 Elm Street, they discover that it's the home of Principal Floyd, who answers the door dressed as Satan himself. Principal Floyd goes on to show them the spell book, and they're able to find a binding spell, which they want to use to try to trap Stingy Jack's soul back into the jack-o'-lantern. However, when reciting that particular spell, you must believe it deep down in your bones. The group is then attacked by skeleton football players from Principal Floyd's yard, which causes them to lose the book and the spell to accidentally burn in the fireplace. The skeleton attack gives Howard flashbacks from that one Halloween where he fell through the floorboards. However, Sydney points out that these are real and can therefore be beaten up. Howard then grabs a chainsaw, originally known as a bone cutter, and decides to cut through the skeletons. After the attack, they head back to Bridge Hollow's Halloween festival, but first, they make a stop off at Madame Hawthorne's gravesite and hold a seance in order to try and regain the binding spell from Madame Hawthorne herself. An army of Halloween decorations begin to descend on the festival, while the spirit of Madame Hawthorne possesses Howard, giving the rest of the group the words to the binding spell. Realizing that Stingy Jack needs his jack-o'-lantern, Sydney and Howard rush back home. Upon arriving, they discover that Emily is being attacked by Stingy Jack, coming face to face with him for the very first time. Stingy Jack then opens a portal to another world and attempts to claim Emily's soul. Howard confronts Stingy Jack, attempting to recite the spell, but at first, it doesn't seem to work. After some words of encouragement from Sydney, Howard recites the spell once again, and this time, it works. Stingy Jack's soul is trapped, the decorations collapse, and the town cheers. The next morning, the Gordons celebrate with Jamie, Ramona, and Mario jokingly tells the family that they should see what the town does for Christmas. As Howard and Sydney lock away Stingy Jack's jack-o'-lantern, another hole opens up in the wall, revealing a number of locked treasure chests as our movie comes to its end. I read a lot of people's reviews for this movie online. A lot of people are shitting on this, and I don't get it. They're saying that it's all filler, no substance, that it's just not a very good movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. I thought it was a great family flick. I'd put it right there as like a hocus pocus style of movie that's just all kinds of fun for all ages. I thought Marlon Wayans was awesome as Howard, the reluctant believer, if you will. I thought Priah Ferguson did a great job as Sydney, trying to convince her dad that what was happening is happening and not everything needs an explanation. Sometimes you just believe what you see. Although minor, I thought Kelly Rowland did a great job as Emily. She was just kind of there in the background. She didn't do a whole lot. There was this little subplot about her and her baked goods and gluten free and everything. And that's why there wasn't a whole lot of mention of that in the storyline, the synopsis, because it really had no bearing on the story as a whole. But I just thought that it was a well done family movie. I thought the soundtrack was killer. I mean, you had songs like I'm Your Boogeyman, The Freaks Come Out at Night. You had I Put a Spell on You. All kinds of your traditional Halloween party songs. I jokingly told my girlfriend and my daughter, who I was watching it with, like, all they need now is Thriller. And unfortunately, my girlfriend did not echo my sentiments. She said that if Thriller came on, she was going to leave the movie because how overplayed Thriller is. Not that it's a bad song or a bad video, but it's just overplayed for this time of year. And I can kind of concede that for her. But at the end of the day, when you think of Halloween, you think of Thriller. It just is what it is. But that's really the only thing that was like missing here was Thriller. The soundtrack was good, the cinematography was good, the story was good, the special effects were good. I really thoroughly enjoyed this film. When it comes to my rating for it, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. Those of you that haven't seen it, I highly recommend that in these next few days before Halloween is over, you grab the family, pop some popcorn, dim the lights, maybe light a couple of candles, and just watch this family friendly entertainment. For those of you that have seen it, what did you think? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's engage in that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I desire from you, my fans, in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in at the top of the hour, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as on the Jeff Meacham Network and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, as Noah Foster and I will be providing our NXT Halloween Havoc coverage. We're going to be providing predictions, commentary, and live reactions to the WWE NXT PLE starting here in just a few moments. James Hebert will be popping in here and there also to give his thoughts on the matches, possibly a cameo from Jeff Meacham himself. We'll have to see if the Mauska Mafia allows him to step out from behind the gates to drop in here. And then immediately following the PLE, again on the Casa D18 Studios channel and on the Jeff Meacham Network and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, it'll be time for open mic night. Again, myself, Noah Foster, James Hebert, possibly Jeff Meacham, maybe a couple of other guests, dropping in to talk about some of the topics from the week in pro wrestling. And then tomorrow, back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. It'll be time to once again step into the war zone. That's right, another edition of the weekly acquisition report where I show you, the viewers, some of the latest additions to my ever-growing movie library. It'll be Goodwill finds once again tomorrow on the war zone. And then following that will be another edition of Renegades reviews, and I'm going to wrap up the Thorn trilogy of the Michael Myers saga with Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, starring Donald Pleasance, Paul Rudd, Marianne Hagen, Mitch Ryan, Devin Gardner, J.C. Brandy, and George P. Wilbur. You're not going to want to miss out on any of that content right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, right here on Renegades Reviews, right here on the War Zone, on the Jeff Meacham Network, across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media. So much content coming up here in the final week plus of October. Don't want to miss out on any of it. So make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on. That way you're alerted anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, or anytime we go live, as is the case with the PLE coverage, Open Mic Night, Statboy Sports Bar. Make sure you share this video with your family, friends, loved ones, co-workers, movie fanatics, cinephiles, Marlon Wayans fans, Priah Ferguson fans, Kelly Rowland fans, Rob Riggle fans, Nia Vardalos fans, fans of the spooky and Halloween, anybody that you can think of that would enjoy this video review and this content. Share my videos with them. Only way we're going to boost up my visibility in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized, make some money on these endeavors. Thank you once again to everyone who tuned in and joined me here today. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.